Shri Krishna begins the comparative evaluation between Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyas. So now my questions to you all are, what is Karma Yoga and what is Karma Sannyas? In short,
Karma Yoga is doing your actions and surrendering them upon Shraj Maharaj.
yes, yes, right. And how about Karma Sannyas? The very beginning of the 6th chapter that we did. Karma Sannyas. You can see in the brief introduction of the 6th chapter.
It's the renunciation of your actions physically.
Physical renunciation, that's correct. Yes. So Sri Krishna went on to explain to Arjun that it is not mere physical renunciation which works, because you ultimately have to surrender everything to Sri Krishna. Then it works. So this message is being given in the 6th chapter to all of us as well. Okay. Now, Sri Krishna further had explained that when work is done with a selfless motive and without uh, looking at the fruits of the actions, what is the result of that? Does it purify the mind? What does it do? All this is introduction of the 6th chapter that we did last class, nothing else.
Performing Karma Yoga can purify the mind.
Exactly. It will purify the mind, and when somebody enhances in the state of Karma Yoga, he reaches that tranquility or that peaceful state wherein the person is able to meditate upon the Lord. Because, as I said, many people, whenever we meet them, they usually keep on complaining that whenever we sit down to meditate, our mind is never focused. It runs here and there, it wanders around. So, Sri Krishna says that when you perform Karma Yoga, and because of which, if your mind becomes purified, then slowly this purified mind will reach a state of tranquility, which means peacefulness. And then that mind will be able to concentrate or focus upon the Lord, meditate. So, this is the advantage of following the practice of Karma Yoga. Okay, now let's quickly revise about how can you actually get perfection in Karma Yoga. The first thing is that we surrender our actions to the Lord. The second thing is that we are not asking for any fruits, or we are not thinking of any fruits when we do our actions. We're just doing it because we know that everything is under His supervision. He'll take care of all the karmas. So, this is how we reach the state of perfection, or which we called as Siddhi in Karma Yoga. Okay. Can you name the 5 sense objects that we did last class? Because it is important for our uh, ensuing journey as well.
It's color, sound, smells, tastes, and textures.
Exactly. So these five sense objects, thank you, Pranay, they are the sense objects upon which the sense organs like the eye, ears, nose, the skin, all of them, they rely on the sense objects or they get carried away because of the sense objects. We see that so many people have, a craze for using the perfumes, and there are so many costly perfumes. What is the use? It's just to gratify the sense organs. For example, in this case, it's the nose. Many people want to taste various kinds of food. Nothing wrong in that. But the purpose behind is the gratification of the tongue, isn't it? So, for us, as far as Gita is concerned, if we know that these are the five sense objects, after which our five sense organs are always running, then we will know the purpose of everything in life. Whether we are doing it for the gratification of senses or whether we are doing something for elevating the mind or we are doing something towards devotion. So we will come to know about that. This is how Gita helps us. So knowing the sense objects, knowing the sense organs, that is why very important. The last class, Krishna had also explained to Arjun about the mind, the nature of the mind, isn't it? Is the mind a friend or an enemy for us?
It's both. It depends on how you train it.
Exactly. Thank you so much. It's both. And do you all remember the two words which we did from the shloka, from the verse? One word was for the friend, the other one was for the enemy.
Bandhur and Ripur.
Bandhur and Ripur. So Bandhur is friend, Ripur is enemy, right? Shri Krishna says your mind can be your Bandhur as well as your Ripur. But depends, as Pranay said right now, it depends on how do you train the mind. Now, Shri Pranaji in his Chupai has also mentioned this. Sab man mein na kachu man mein. Your mind may be full of thoughts. Your mind may be mindful. It may be concentrated. Depends on how do you train or how do you bring it up. Okay. Now, this was on the part of revision. Let's quickly start today's verses. Today we will discuss about, I think we've done 6 verses last class. So now the 7th one. What are the signs of a yogi who has conquered his mind? The last class we spoke about befriending the mind. Now Krishna says, the one who befriends his mind, that is a yogi, because he is in union with the higher power, isn't it? Therefore, he's called a yogi. Who has conquered his mind? How will he behave? What are the characteristics through which we know that the person is a yogi? Because many people, to get that title alone, they will strive for it. However, in the real sense, they may not be yogis. So let's quickly look at the verse. I will copy paste the contents for you all. Just give me about half a minute. Yes. I'm going to copy paste for you all the 7th verse. The 7th and the 8th one are there in front of you. Sri Krishna says that the yogis who have conquered their minds, they rise above the dualities. Now, what are dualities? First of all, when it is too cold, we start complaining of it. When it is too hot, we also start complaining of it. If we are in an extremely depressed state of mind, we are complaining about it. If we are joyful, we we begin to be elevated. We are right on top of the world. So in both the situations, like joy, sorrow, those are the two extremes. Or it may be cold and hot. These are the two extremes. Similarly, the third one Krishna talks about is honor and dishonor. In any of these dualities, that is a pair of two is dualities, the yogi is neither elevated nor is he depressed. He is peaceful, whether it is too cold or too hot, whether it is honor or dishonor for him. Because our mind gets caught into today is very hot, today is very cold, those kind of dualities. Someone honored me, someone dishonored me. So the mind of an ordinary individual will be caught in the dualities. However, the one who is a yogi, who has practiced karma yoga, for him, his mind will raise above the dualities. So Sri Krishna says, this is the characteristic of the person who has conquered his mind. Now, further, Sri Krishna explains, when he has conquered his mind, he is equal in all the situations of life. Never too elevated, never too depressed. And such a yogi with this peaceful mind, he becomes steadfast in his devotion towards the Lord, which means whatever comes as a problem in his life, but he's never bothered about it. He is steadfast in his devotion. That is the state of his mind. Now, you may say whether such individual exists. Yes. Examples, someone like Mirabai, Bhakta Prahlad, whom we have all heard about. Recently, there was a movie, Narsimha, in which we saw the character of the devotee called Prahlad. So what I'm trying to say is, when these people in Karma Yoga, they reach a high state, that is how they become steadfast in devotion and they become well known in the world as devotees of Sri Krishna. Because if you take the example, let's say, of Mirabai, she was given poison. She drinks that, but was unaffected. She was in that blissful state. What to say? Prahlad was thrown from the mountain into the deep valleys, yet he did not die because Krishna held him. Prahlad's auntie takes him on her lap and sits in the fire of sacrifice. However, nothing at all happened to Prahlad, and she had the boon that fire could not burn her. However, she got burned because of fire. Prahlad was untouched. This is what happens when you're steadfast in devotion. So, dear friends, Shri Krishna says that the yogis have conquered the mind, unaffected by dualities. They're steadfast in devotion. Is it clear to everyone so far? So let's move on to the 8th verse. Another characteristic Sri Krishna describes is the vision of the yogis, the way they see the world. Krishna says that a yogi has an impartial vision. He has an equanimous vision towards one and all. No partiality in his mind. This concept is explained beautifully by Sri Krishna. Let's see. What he says is the yogi who are satisfied by knowledge and discrimination and have conquered their senses, they remain undisturbed in all circumstances. And because they are undisturbed, whether they see dirt, whether they see sand, stones, gold, silver, or whatever you name, however, they see it as the same. I've also quoted the example of Hanumanji cutting the pearls. Now, you may imagine, you may just wonder about it, that why was he cutting pearls? Someone came to Hanumanji and offered him a lot of precious pearls and said that this is offered upon you, please take it. So he took those pearls. However, for Hanumanji, who was in that state of mind where everything is same for him, whether it is sand, gold, pearls, or dirt, etc. Now he takes each and every pearl, he cuts it apart to see whether there is the name of his Lord Sri Ram and Sita in that pearl. So Hanumanji went on cutting every pearl, but he never finds the name of Sri Ram Sita in that. So he complained, saying that what you call as precious does not even have the name of Ram and Sita in it. For me, it is equivalent to any stones lying on the road. There is no value, no worth for me of these pearls. Who has added value to the pearls? Who has made gold so valuable? After all, it is human beings, right? We have said this is a precious metal, or these are the precious gems in the world. So, all I want to say is that for a yogi, because he has the knowledge and he has the power of discrimination of knowledge, that is why he has got an equanimous vision. For instance, today in our session, we are trying to impart and absorb knowledge. This knowledge will enter into you and you will start utilizing this knowledge. Then it becomes your discrimination of the knowledge. So, when you utilize it for your own self, it becomes your wisdom or your discrimination of the knowledge. And a yogi has knowledge and discrimination. That is why he's undisturbed. He sees everything as the same. I know there are questions in their mind, and they will be solved as we do the next couple of shlokas. So, why does he have such an equanimous vision? If that is the question, let me give you the next verse and we'll see through it. Very important, the 9th verse. So, if you see the 9th verse, it says, the yogis make use of impartial intellect. They look upon their well wishers, friends, foes, the pious and the sinners with an impartial vision. You may say, how is that possible? Friends are friends and foes are foes. Sinners are sinners and pious people are pious souls. So, how can they be seen equally? If the question arises in our mind, Krishna says, he has an equal intellect because if you look at the 3 points which are given, what brings the parity of vision? The first thing is that he sees all the souls are nothing but parts of God Himself. Please think along with what Krishna is saying. Put yourself in the place of a yogi and try to think for a moment. You will realize that from a yogi's vision, all of us, animals, birds, human beings, and sinners, pious, relatives, friends, foes, whatever they are, we have classified them, but for God, they are parts of God Himself. So, the yogi goes in depth to understand that everyone is a part of God. Therefore, he has the equanimous vision. He's not able to differentiate or have a partial vision towards them. As the yogi still goes deeper and deeper, now he begins to see that all these creatures are not only parts of God, but God is seated right in their hearts. Even in the sinner, even in the foes, even where there is dirt. So, with that vision, he's able to see that everywhere God is seated. He goes still further in his study. And now, the yogi at the highest level of his unison with the Lord is able to see that everyone is a form of God. Now, just look at the words. The first attempt that he made in his equanimous vision, he thought everyone are parts of God. Then he begins to see that God is seated in everyone. But when he reaches the peak of this equanimous vision, he sees that everyone is a form of God. So, in this manner, he has the equanimous vision. The question may arise that sinners are also part of God. Are they also a form of God? The enemies, are they a form of God? The answer to it is yes. The reason being that when God created the entire world, He created the 84 lakh species. He created the law of action. And after creating everything, He entered the souls in all the 84 lakh species through His own power. So everything is nothing but has got a divine spark inside them. Now, as they begin to do karmas, some come out as sinners, some come out as pious souls. However, the yogi looks at it from the vision that everyone has got soul inside them, and that soul belongs to the God, to the divine. Therefore, for the yogi, he has an equanimous vision. He will not hurt anyone, and he will also not go to flatter anyone. All he knows is that I have to please the divine. That is his goal. So Krishna says that those who have an unbiased vision, those who look at the righteous ones and the sinful ones at par, they are distinguished among humans. When we say distinguished, which means they stand apart from the ordinary human beings. Now, I have a question for all of you. Let me see. Once you were going on a path and you happened to see a lion, and you think that this lion is also a part of God. He's a part of universe. He has the divine spark in him. What will you do when you see the lion? Yes, son. Will you have the equanimous vision? What will you do?
No, because the lion needs to fulfill their duties.
Yes. So what about the equanimous vision? Then you won't have it?
You have it, but with respect for the lion.
Okay. Let's say a yogi is standing. He sees the lion coming towards him. Will he go and have a handshake? It's not possible. Although he knows he has the divine spark, if he sees any enemy in front of him, he still knows that even that enemy has got a divine spark in him. However, at this point of time, he is under the sway of the three gunas, which is why he is becoming an enemy, which is why he is becoming a lion, a tiger, or somebody, a carnivorous animal who will eat you up, isn't it? So, because he is under the sway of the three qualities, as we know, Sadgun, Rajagun, Tamogun, so the yogi also knows that despite of having the divine spark within him, right now he is under the control of the three gunas. Hence, he knows how much distance he has to maintain. So he is looking at the soul inside the foe or a lion, etc. At the same time, he is aware that the three gunas of Maya are also acting upon him. Therefore, he also maintains a distance with him. The purpose behind having an equanimous vision is that we do not hurt anyone on our side, or we do not look down upon them, whether they are sinners. Just imagine if the compassionate divine supreme being does not have an equanimous vision towards all of us, then towards whom he is favoring, they will always rise above. And the ones upon whom he does not cast his merciful vision, they will never be able to elevate themselves. Therefore, just as the divine has a merciful vision upon every one of us, in the same manner, the yogi too sees that everyone is equal and same. So, this is the concept of equanimous vision. If you all have any questions, then please let me know. Is it clear? Okay, good. Now, let's move to the 10th verse. You can see the 10th and the 11th verse in front of you. Okay. Now, in the 10th verse, Sri Krishna says, a person who wants to delve deep into the Karma Yoga, he is called a yogi. How should he reside? Whether he should remain all the time in midst of a crowd, whether he should stay in solitude, how should he reside? So Krishna gives the guidelines for a yogi. He says that those who seek the state of yoga, they should reside in seclusion, in isolation. Why? Because he can sit down and meditate upon the Lord. Because as it is, he has an equanimous vision. His mind and his body are under his own control. Just imagine a state where you're made to sit on a horse whom you cannot control. Although the reins of the horse may be in your hand, still, if he is out of your control, wherever he runs, he will take you there. And it may cause an accident. A mishap may be there. If, on the other hand, you're riding a trained horse, that horse becomes a vehicle and you may reach the desired place. Isn't it? In the same manner, our senses, our mind are the vehicles. They are our instruments. If they are trained, they are under your control, you will go to a desired place. But if they are not trained, if they are not under control, then they will take you to their desired place. Therefore, what does a yogi do? Krishna says he should always remain in seclusion and meditate upon the Lord because he is in a very well controlled state of his mind, his body, his senses. The more he meditates, what happens is all the desires, possessions for enjoyment, all those possessions and the desires are given up. Therefore, meditation is very important for a yogi. So, this was the guideline of how he should reside. Now, the next verse tells us how should one meditate? Very important question. Because as you go deeper into this, you will understand the importance of meditation. But if you do not know how to meditate, you will struggle meditating. You will not be able to focus your mind. So Sri Krishna says to practice yoga, one should make an asan. What is an asan? A seat upon which you are going to be seated for meditation. So the very first step that one has to take is to prepare a seat or an asan for himself, which should be in a sanctified place. And in that place, you will have to use, there is a grass called kush grass. It's very soft and tender. So, this is the guidelines as per Gita. We're going as per that. Take the kush grass upon which you have to place deer skin. If you notice, if you see the pictures of any saints, you'll definitely see this. And they'll be seated upon the deer skin. Why? Because all this is mentioned in Gita as a guideline for the yogis. Upon that deer skin as well, they are placing a cloth. The asan should neither be very heighted nor too low. Because if it's too low, by any chance, if any creatures like ants, etc., come, they'll be able to climb and disturb the person. So it should neither be very high, neither be very low. This is the asan that one has to maintain for meditation. So Sri Krishna says that the one who wants to meditate is supposed to prepare an asan for himself in a sanctified place and see to it it's neither very high nor too low, and he should be comfortable to sit upon that. So in this manner, now I'll very quickly paste the next two verses because it completes the entire description of how should one meditate.
Is there a reason why deer skin is used and no other?
Yes. See, deer skin, because it is considered to be a sattvic animal. And it's not upon killing the deer and then you get the skin. But when the deer drops his body, after that, the skin can be utilized for this purpose. It's not after, especially you go and kill the deer and you bring the skin, that's not the case. So, whenever the deer drops the body, that skin can be utilized for this purpose because it is a sattvic animal and the skin of the deer is very soft. So, it is conducive for sadhana. For the one who sits upon that mat, it's very conducive. That is why deer skin is used. Okay. So now in the 12th and the 13th verse, Sri Krishna further says that when he prepares such an asan for himself, he's seated firmly upon the asan. Now, the next objective is that he should strive to purify the mind. How can he do that further? By focusing and meditating with one pointed concentration. So far, he has been doing it by Karma Yoga and practicing to have an equanimous vision. But now, when he actually sits down to meditate, he should be able to meditate with complete focus on the divine. He must hold the body, neck, and head firmly in a straight line. If you see this entire back portion, the head, the spinal cord, the back, everything should be aligned. It should be straight. And the gaze of the eyes should be upon the tip of the nose. The eyes should not wander about here and there. This is the method of meditation which Sri Krishna teaches to the yogis. With this, you will be able to meditate. Now, we should think how can we apply the same thing when we meditate for Sri Raji Maharaj? Because the same thing happens to us. We hardly find any time to sit down and meditate. And even in that time, when we sit, 10 thoughts are coming. I have to do this. This is pending. I have to go here. So, first of all, with the knowledge of Gita, with the knowledge of Vani that we are learning every day, first thing is to purify the mind. Having done so, when you sit down for meditation, You should close your eyes and with a straight back, a straight head neck, you have to focus upon the image of Sri Raji Shyamaji, starting from their lotus feet, then slowly moving upwards towards their head. So, looking at each and every part in their Swarup, gazing at each and every ornament that they are wearing, you slowly reach up till the head of Sri Rashamaji. This is how we have to meditate upon the personification or the Swarup of Raji and Shyamaji. When Krishna is explaining here in Gita, he is talking about the yogis. And the yogis, they may have an equanimous vision, but we are blessed that we know where Rajshamaji are seated, where the divine is seated himself, and we also know the Paramdham, the throne upon which he is seated, and we have a direct access to meditate upon that Murmulava. Therefore, for us, it is even more shorter, even more direct, that we straight away contemplate or meditate upon the Swarup of Raji and Shyamaji. However, the terms of meditation will remain the same. For example, purifying the mind and bringing it to such a state where it is tranquil, it is unmoved. Then you will be able to focus upon Sri Rashamaji. Now, I quickly want to share one chopai that most of us know, I think. What Mahamati Sri Pranaji says about meditation. Let's see. Yes. Have all of us recited this chopai? Bandagi zikar meher ki, ye meher hak hukum, isn't it? It is one of the chopais of Meher Sagar. So, I think it's the 18th chopai. Bandagi zikar. Both are a gift of Sri Raji Maharaj, His Grace. Why am I bringing this chopai over here is when Krishna is talking about meditation and all, worship and devotion, we are looking at what Mahamati Sri Pranaji is saying regarding worship and devotion. First of all, let me introduce the two words to you, bandagi and zikr. Bandagi means wholehearted submission to the divine. When you do seva with the wholehearted submission to Sri Raji Maharaj, that is called as bandagi. The second concept is zikr. Zikr means remembrance of the Supreme Being, Sri Raji Maharaj. And what is the purpose behind bandagi and zikr? If you look at the word bandagi, it is actually being enslaved or being bonded by Sri Raji and his worship. However, it is not out of force. Our devotion towards Sri Raji Maharaj is in fact to free us from ego, desires, the worldly intellect, and so on. So it is not a bondage, It is not anything forceful upon the individual, rather, it liberates the individual from ego desires and such other negative forces. That is called bandagi. The second one, zikr. That is whenever we recollect the name of Rashyamaji, the Leela of Paramdham, we are remembering Sri Raji Maharaj. That helps us to purify ourselves, purify our minds. Ranaji says that we may think bandagi and zikr can be done by our own effort, our own human effort. Yes, it is required. To the extent you're more sincere, it's required. At the same time, human effort alone is not enough. Why? Because even when human effort is required, grace will give you strength, guidance, and desire to maintain your focus. Therefore, when Meher gives you, when the divine grace gifts you bandagi and zikr, you become firm in that. Remember, all this has come out of the discussion of meditation. For us, what is meditation? Bandagi and zikr. Let me quickly question. It's right there in front of you, but I just want you to answer. What is bandagi?
Is it wholehearted devotion?
Yes. Wholehearted devotion, like wholehearted submission to the divine. Okay. What is zikr?
Zikr is remembrance of the Supreme Being.
Yes, supreme being. So, bandagi and zikr, although they need human efforts, what more do they want?
Do they want the divine?
They want the divine grace, right? With divine grace, the individual will be able to get guidance, support, and desire to maintain his focus. That is why divine grace is very important. If you recollect the chaupai, it says bandagi zikr meher ki. Bandagi as well as zikr are the gifts of divine grace. So this is how Sri Pranaji says. See, we looked at what Krishna says about the concept of meditation, and this is what Pranaji says about bandagi, zikr, which are again meditation and contemplation, isn't it? The remembrance of God through wholehearted submission. So keeping both in our minds. Why? Because when we're doing Gita, we also need to compare it with Pranaji's Chopais. That is how our own concepts will also be fortified. So, yes, I think we've done good enough for today. Let me just quickly question and then we can call it a day. I'm starting from the 7th verse where Krishna has said, "What are the signs of a yogi who has conquered his mind?"
Yogis rise above dualities like hot and cold.
Yes, very good. So they rise above the dualities like hot and cold, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor, etc. That is why, that is how, what happens to their devotion?
It's steadfast and peaceful with God.
Their devotion becomes steadfast. Very good. What kind of a vision the yogis have?
They have equanimous vision.
Animus vision. So between friends and foes, honor, dishonor, thing is same for them. Okay. Uh, we have described the three levels of vision in the yogis. Can you please name them? We've seen it in the ninth verse.
Oh, all beings are divine souls. God is seen in everybody, and yogi develops the vision. Everyone is in the form of God.
Yes, yes, beautiful. Thank you, Pranay. So the first thing is a yogi sees everyone as they are the parts of God. When he goes still deeper, he sees that in everyone God is seated. And he goes to the highest level of equanimous vision where he sees that everyone is a form of God himself. So these are the three states of his vision. How should the seekers of yoga reside? Verse 10.
They should reside in a place of seclusion, constantly engaged in their meditation.
Yes, very good. Okay. And do we need an asana for meditation? What kind of an asana is required?
An asana with kush grass, deerskin, and a cloth, one over the other.
Yes, that's good. So that is a soft one, as well as it should not be very high or very low. It has to be at a moderate height. Okay. And where should be the gaze of the meditator, the yogi?
On the tip
The
of
posture. Yes, sorry, please come again.
on the tip of the nose, the eyes should not wander.
Yes, good. And how about the posture of the yogi? How do we sit during meditation?
Straight and upright. A straight line, like
Straight
the
and upright, where your yes, the back, neck, the head, everything should be in one line, straight. Okay. So, what does Mahamati Sri Pranaji say about meditation?
that Badliki, wholehearted devotion, and Sikar are remembrance of Sri Raji are gifts of divine grace.
They are gifts of divine grace. Is human effort required, or is it only grace?
Both.
Both. If you do not have sincerity, then divine grace will not be able to help you. But human effort alone also is not enough. We want divine grace so that everything will fructify. So this is what we hear from Mahamati Sri Panaji Shropai. And I think it's enough for the day. So we'll say our prayer and